history would say they're just friends. Meanwhile, Soph was flying to LA to meet the new person she was seeing. After some detective work, fans matched the disembodied hand on Soph's shoulder to Alyssa Carrington, another influencer who broke up with their partner during the lesbian apocalypse. While in LA, Soph and Alyssa went to some queer TikToker event together, which coincidentally was the same event JoJo and Avery were attending. I mean, seeing your ex all cuddly with the person they left you for, now that sounds like a party. Based on photos and videos from that night, viewers could definitely tell there was an us versus them vibe. And unfortunately for Soph, Avery got their influencer friend group in the divorce. Fans felt that JoJo, Avery, and their clique acted like high school mean girls that night, cause they kinda did. At least to me, it seemed like Soph and Alyssa were purposely excluded from that group. A few weeks later, Soph and Alyssa's situationship fizzled, but JoJo and Avery were still going strong. They became official in October 2022 and lived happily ever after for a whole 2 months. Avery cited that the reason they broke up was because they're young and trying to figure things out, but they'd still remain friends. However, that wouldn't last long.
Why are you mad? Why are you mad?
Because I got used.
For what?
For views.
Aww.
And for clout. And I got tricked into being told that I was loved. And I got fucking played!
Avery refuted this in an exclusive statement to E! News. From my perspective, me and JoJo left on great terms and are still friends. The relationship was very real and I have nothing but love for JoJo and her family. The 22-year-old added at the time, I'm still very hurt that JoJo broke up with me and I'm saddened and confused by the situation. It just so happened that Jess posted this Instagram story the same week Avery and Soph announced that they were going on a non-refundable trip to Europe together. So maybe that could have triggered JoJo's emotional reaction? Who could blame her though? Breakups suck on their own, but if I saw my ex on vacation with the person they dated before me weeks after our breakup, I'd also lose my mind. But seeing how JoJo and Avery's relationship came to be, is this another case of what goes around comes around? Or as some would say, karma? They do say you lose them how you got them. I don't know though, that's between them and the universe. I think we'd all agree that this should not have been shared on the internet. Jess has turned her daughter's life into a circus act, but she couldn't respect JoJo's privacy this one time. Now, would I be shocked if this was staged? No. The Siwas aren't known for their subtlety. However, assuming this was genuine, it was pretty shitty of Jesselyn to share such a vulnerable moment of her daughter. I can only watch this clip so many times because I feel like I'm intruding. I fear JoJo's breakup with Avery was her Joker moment. Joker moment. Sorry, I'll cool it with the puns. The more JoJo's attention-seeking antics intensified, the more she fell out of favor with the new audience she'd garnered since coming out. From this moment forward, I just want to shake this woman and ask JoJo!
Have you
learned nothing? Besides her infamous TikTok thirst traps, JoJo was also posting photos holding her belly on Snapchat. Based on the hand placement and her stomach bulge, viewers wondered whether or not JoJo was pregnant. She wasn't, obviously, but she leaned into the rumor quite a bit. JoJo then posted a number of photos shopping for diapers, doing a baby clothes haul, and posing with the father of her baby. JoJo's fake pregnancy rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Many users felt like JoJo was being insensitive to couples struggling with infertility. It's very reminiscent of the dead dad joke from earlier. She used a traumatic event a lot of people go through as the punchline. To JoJo's credit, she reported to Business Insider that she was giving away baby clothes and accessories to expectant parents in her audience, which, if true, was awesome. But her good deed was kind of spoiled by the fact that this was the wrong way to go about it. It's childish, it's being edgy just to be edgy. She really took the Matt Rife approach to dark humor. It was cheap, distasteful, and lazy. Pregnancy Gate also happened around the time JoJo spilled some tea or dumped some slime on her former employer, Nickelodeon, or so people thought, because JoJo wasn't invited to the Kids' Choice Awards in the year she came out. Nickelodeon claimed that this was an honest mistake. On March 22nd, 2023, JoJo alleged that a company she worked for did not react well to her coming out. The president of this company was supposedly concerned about what JoJo would tell the kids in her audience, to which she replied, "The truth." While this did anger him, JoJo refused to hide her true identity anymore. However, Nickelodeon vehemently denied the accusation, saying, "We are unaware of what incident or meeting JoJo is referencing, but it certainly did not happen at Nickelodeon. We have valued and supported JoJo since day one of our relationship together, and we still do today." In fact, JoJo released a Pride collection with them just over a month later, so I think that would rule them out. And to this day, we still don't know what company JoJo was referring to. JoJo was adamant on sharing her truth at this time because not too long after, JoJo accused her exes of love bombing and clout chasing on TikTok with an Abby Lee Miller audio to boot.
Smaller steps.
It's pretty obvious who this video was directed at. By this point, the resentment between JoJo and Avery was obvious, but soon a new challenger would approach to defend Avery. And who would that be? JoJo's second ex, Katie Mills.
I'm done being quiet.
You hold a lot of power, you and your platform. How can you tell someone that you loved them and then ghost them the next day and then post all over the internet that we're clout chasers and love bombers? I don't get it.
Katie alleged that JoJo sent her and Avery through hell for months and that she knew she was full of shit.
Weren't you the one that decided that we needed to go to the Hollywood Boulevard, Disney, and the Lakers game? That wasn't my idea. And anytime I posted something, I asked for your permission first. And I have the text receipts to prove it, so don't come at me with saying that we were clout chasers.
At the end of her video, Katie accused JoJo of purposely reigniting the drama months later to send her fans after her exes. While Craze superfans are always going to act like Craze superfans, many were waiting to hear Avery's side of the story. Avery was keeping quiet, but it was only a matter of time until the other shoe dropped. On that note, I think now is the time to address the elephant in the room. Hey JoJo, why are we still friends with some of YouTube's biggest creeps in 2023? Shane's problematic past of blackface, pedophilia jokes, and sexualizing minors and animals on camera had been common knowledge.
First of all, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like she's like sexy. She's like sexy.
You're disgusting.
In addition, many teenage boys and men had come forward with inappropriate messages allegedly sent by James Charles, both from before and after his confession.
It sucks and it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate. Miles-long
receipts and entire video catalogs of their awful, creepy behavior mean nothing to JoJo apparently because she still willingly associates with them. I love how Shane titled his video "My Day with JoJo Siwa" even though she only made an appearance at the very end. Sorry Shane, yapping in your driveway next to JoJo's Siwa-fied supercar for 10 minutes does not constitute a day spent together. And in James and JoJo's most recent collab, they exchanged credit cards for a day. So if you're into watching two insufferable rich people spend thousands of dollars, this is the video for you. However, JoJo's unwavering allegiance to Colleen friggin' Ballinger frustrated viewers the most. Last spring, multiple victims came forward with allegations against Colleen, and they had some pretty damning evidence. Also, can you believe it's been a year already? These allegations include, but are not limited to, inappropriate communication with underage fans, i.e. asking about their virginities, forcing a teen girl's legs open on stage, performing in blackface, and cheating on her ex-husband with her co-star, and I'm barely scratching the surface. I don't have time to go through every single detail of Colleen's major cancellation. Thankfully though, there are plenty of videos that break down the whole controversy, so I'd recommend watching one of those. Anyway, as more and more receipts came out, Colleen was nowhere to be found, and that only made her look more guilty. She was silent until June 28th, 2023, the day she uploaded the apology video heard around the world.
Hi everyone. I've been wanting to come online and talk to you about a few things. Even though my team has strongly advised me to not say what I want to say, I recently realized that they never said that I couldn't sing what I want to say. So, all aboard the toxic gossip train.
Where were you when Toxic Gossip Train dropped? The internet collectively roasting Colleen for her piss-poor apology for weeks was quite possibly the closest we'll ever get to world peace.
The only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer. I'm just a loser.
No, Colleen, you're a groomer and a loser. Let's make that very clear. Amidst it all, JoJo was still posting like crazy on TikTok and Snapchat, but she stayed mum on the accusations against her colleague and close friend. Now that Colleen's predatory behavior had been exposed, old clips of her and JoJo were seen in a new light, and viewers picked up on some similarities between the way Colleen interacted with her underage fans and the way she interacted with JoJo. And I've included a few examples throughout the video. Colleen's been called the female Shane Dawson for years, and maybe that's for a reason, because a lot of users believe that JoJo was also a victim of her grooming. But I don't think JoJo knows that. Her interview on the Howie Mandel Does Stuff podcast was very eye-opening. This was the one and only time JoJo publicly addressed the allegations against Colleen. First, Howie asked JoJo how young she was when she met Colleen for the first time.
I would imagine if you're friends with her, you kind of met her when you were young.
I was 12 when I met her.
And
she's always been nothing but kind to me. Her family, nothing but kind to me.
And therein lies the problem, because adults should not be friends with children. It worries me that JoJo doesn't see this as a problem.
The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far that it's to the point where you just can't do anything about it.
Clearly, that was shade at Adam McIntyre. It is wild for JoJo to say that the victims are lying when there is documentation of Colleen's predatory behavior via screenshots, clips from Miranda Sings live shows, and even videos Colleen uploaded to her own YouTube channels. JoJo herself is in a lot of this incriminating footage. After commending Colleen for her creativity and all she's done for YouTube, JoJo complained that it's very hard to be a comedian in the present day because you can't say anything anymore. Everyone's offended by everything nowadays. The woke mob won't even let you groom kids in peace anymore. Howie moved on to ask JoJo how she feels about setting boundaries with fans.
I don't think that communicating with fans is, you got to be careful to not
and that's what I'm saying,
to not blur a friend-fan line.
Then Howie pointed out again that Colleen befriended her when she was only 12 years old. You could tell he's trying to break it gently to JoJo, but totally going over her head.
And here's my question to you. Regardless of judging whatever specifically is being said that was happening, and I'm just saying this as a parent again. You said you started communicating with her when you were 12.
Then, according to JoJo, a lot of her friends have been canceled in a similar matter. So you're saying your adult friends who befriended you when you were a minor were later exposed for being predatory with minors. There can't possibly be a correlation there.
You must have really young people reaching out to you now.
I mean, I do, and it's funny. Like, I realized when I hit 18, I was like, oh, this is different now. Like, because you know, you're young and you're dumb, and I was like, I need to be very careful about this.
Like, I know, like, her daughter's 9.
Yeah.
If she could right now, and she
Write
watches
to you and talk to you, like
she would,
yeah.
and she would love to be your friend and love to be online.
So you agree? Talking to underage fans is weird.
The difference with Colleen and I is once I became her friend, and she became my friend, and she became somebody that I looked up to. She became somebody that I idolized. She became somebody that I was like, wow, this person is a hard worker. She's a genius. She's a very strong YouTuber, and I idolize that.
Yeah, it takes a real genius to slap on some red lipstick and make fun of autistic people. Comedy is dead. I'd like to take this moment to say, rest in peace, Miranda. You will certainly not be missed. Let's break this down, though. Colleen, 29, befriended JoJo, 12, when JoJo was a huge fan who idolized her for years prior. They formed a deep friendship and even worked together quite a bit. Does that sound familiar to anyone else?
I think the problem is the internet was able to capitalize off of her cancellation, and they still are, and they still are continuing to, and it's not okay because a lot of it is based off of lies.
Despite being extra snarky to JoJo the past few minutes, I feel for her. I truly do. However, it's so aggravating to watch her invalidate the experiences of Colleen's victims when really they all went through the same thing. I don't know if it's because JoJo's oblivious to the facts since this behavior was so normalized for her, or if she refuses to put two and two together because that would cause her whole life to unravel. Either way, it's very tragic, and none of those kids deserve what Colleen put them through. But this interview got the internet riled up. Any favorability JoJo had left was disappearing faster than you could say toxic gossip train. Former friends of Colleen's even spoke out against JoJo, including Trisha Paytas, but she'd already been vocal for months because she was a victim of Colleen's too. They were friends for years and even started a podcast together right before Colleen's cancellation. Soon after though, Trish found out that Colleen had been sending fans explicit images from her OnlyFans page to make fun of her body.
I do not condone at all unsolicited nudes, sending unsolicited nudes to anyone of anybody, sex worker or not. I think using someone's nudes as a way to hurt them, make fun of them, make light of them, be mean is the lowest form of human, the lowest form of intelligence. I think that's so inhumane. I think that's so disgusting for anyone. Last night, the text messages were shown, and it's very clearly from Colleen to a fan. Has over 500,000 views on Twitter.
No matter how you feel about Trish, this is an objectively horrible thing to do to a friend. Like, I can't imagine how disheartened and betrayed she felt. Their podcast never returned, as you'd expect, and Trish was very empathetic towards Colleen's victims. So when JoJo's interview with Howie Mandel came out, Trish honestly shared some great insight about JoJo and her ex-friend in this 30-minute video.
One of her own friends is now an adult, 20, and we're seeing this firsthand, and I don't blame JoJo. I never blame the child. At 35, I am still realizing, I'm still discovering things that were wrong that happened to me, things that I felt guilt about for so many years because I was groomed and I didn't know it. I didn't understand it. I didn't think anything wrong. I was like, I was always cool with this person. I was always cool with these people. So I just thought, it's not grooming.
Trish went on to say that grooming isn't inherently sexual, and I'm so glad she mentioned that. Even though sexual abuse is the most common motive for grooming, it's not the only one. There are other motives like financial or emotional gain. At its core, grooming is when a person in power takes advantage of a vulnerable party for nefarious purposes. It's a method of control and manipulation, so anyone of any age can be groomed. In Colleen's case, we're talking about an adult who successfully got emotionally close to JoJo, a child. If that's not grooming, then I don't know what is. But people's empathy can only extend so far. With her hubris on full display, the internet was done with JoJo's bullshit. And it didn't help that on September 25th, 2023, Avery uploaded a story time about a former toxic relationship. She alleged that they ran into her unnamed ex-girlfriend's ex and her new girlfriend at a concert. And apparently, Avery's ex and her ex's ex were a little too friendly with each other.
One time me and my girlfriend at the time were at this concert and then her ex shows up. So she decides to go start talking to her ex. Her ex is so into the conversation, she's like leaning over the rail like, oh my god, I heard she's gonna play the song that's on our Smiley Face album. Me and her girlfriend are just sitting there like,
fast forward to the next morning, this ex-partner let Avery know that she was going to text her ex to make sure there was no bad blood between them.
I'm working on her computer, and then text messages pop up when she's downstairs. Turns out she sent more messages, something along the lines of, oh, I still have the thing you gave me when we first met. And the ex's response, keep in mind she had a girlfriend at the time, was the pet name that they used to call each other, and oh, I still have that too, and I also have the ring that you gave me. So I went downstairs and I told her I saw them.
Then, after Avery's ex dropped her off at the airport 3 days later, she dumped Avery over voice memo. And Avery barely walked through the door when this happened, mind you. But after having a dream about Avery that night, suddenly this ex wanted to get back together.
Obviously, I wanted her back, but I was like, really think about what you want. I was almost convincing her to take more time and to really think about what she wanted because I could not handle this again.
Immediately, things were weird. Avery was being showered with gifts and jewelry, but something still felt off. And once confronted about this, her ex decided that they should remain friends for the time being. But here's the twist.
And then a couple days later, she gets caught hanging with her ex. Keep in mind, this is the same ex that her and her entire family would talk so badly about.
This weird limbo the two of them were in ended on a work vacation a few weeks later. According to Avery, it became a friends with benefits type of situation, and ultimately, Avery was fed up with the mixed signals, so she ended things for good. There's no keeping secrets on TikTok, so users quickly surmised that Avery was talking about JoJo. And it turns out they attended the same Fletcher concert as Kylie and her new girlfriend Rylan Utah in 2022. That might be the gayest sentence I've ever uttered. Both couples would break up a month later, and in a podcast from February 2023, Rylan claimed that Kylie cheated on her with JoJo.
I trust people, but I had insane intuition. I felt nauseous. I felt sick. And I have really good intuition. So, if I feel like something's wrong, I'm normally right. And I was like, I don't want to have to check her location. This is so shitty. And I look, and it says Seawall Studios.
What the f***?
So if I have my timeline correct, does that mean JoJo also cheated? Or that this was the reason she dumped Avery over voice memo, allegedly? Who's to say? 3 days later, Avery posted part 2 of her toxic relationship story time.
One time I dated this girl who I am fully convinced to this day that she liked nothing about me. Which is kind of ironic because she was literally begging me to ask her to be my girlfriend after 2 months of talking. And then said if I hadn't have asked her on that trip, she was going to end things with me. Oh, but also mentioned within 10 minutes of me asking her that she doesn't do the honeymoon phase.
Avery's gotta be alluding to the Disney trip where they made things official. So if it wasn't obvious before, moreover, this ex would complain if Avery didn't post her enough on social media. And also, according to Avery, this same ex was super critical of everything she did, like her hobbies and how she showed affection, and even little things like singing in the shower.
I swear this girl would make me cry every single day. I'd be pulling the tear. And she would literally have no idea. I distinctly remember me crying on our 1-month anniversary because she was mocking my singing. She mocked me and I got quiet and she was like, oh, am I gonna push you over the edge? And I was like, yeah, probably. And she was like, sounds fun. And did it again and I started crying. What? On the way to the 1-month anniversary surprise.
So if this is JoJo, it seems like she maintains some flexibility from her dance training, cause how else would she keep up with all this mental gymnastics? Avery felt like she had to change herself in order to please her ex, but one can only keep up that facade for so long. And at the end, Avery learned that the right person will love you for you. And that's true. You should never have to change for anyone's validation or approval. Once Avery said her piece, a lot of viewers were on her side. When some fans went back to their old vlogs, they came across moments that affirmed Avery's claims.
What you got? Get that in your nose, too.
Pour an ice cream.
Wait, can I try?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Now you got a little bit of your... Oh, it's different. Oh. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jerry.
Oh, you got a little more. Oh, sorry.
Stop! Give me that.
Go in.
Plus, the Howie Mandel interview was still so fresh, and many people believed they were seeing JoJo's true colors. Besides some minor shade and promo for a new reality show she was on, JoJo kept quiet. Until Avery made a TikTok lip-syncing to the bridge of Get Him Back by Olivia Rodrigo while cutting an Arby's roast beef sandwich. Then 2 days later, JoJo posted a TikTok playing that exact same part of Get Him Back while eating an Arby's roast beef sandwich. As much as JoJo sucks, unfortunately, this was hilarious. I can't lie. She ate. Really, she literally ate. Then on November 1st, 2023, JoJo announced that some of the Dance Moms cast are returning for a reunion airing on Lifetime the following year. This reunion would include Brooke, Paige, Chloe, Kalani, Kendall, and Miss Bobo with the JoJo herself. Thankfully, Abby would not be at the reunion. Not that she'd be missed, but neither would Nia, Maddie, and Mackenzie, though there was a mini reunion the night before the announcement for Paige's 23rd birthday party. Not to sound like a total fangirl, but seeing these pictures from the party gave me the biggest dopamine rush. I'm just so glad that they're still friends after all these years. Warms my heart. So if any of the Dance Moms girlies happen to be watching right now, I doubt you are, but I hope you're doing well. I really do. In that same month, JoJo also announced her brand new podcast, JoJo Siwa Now, set to air on iHeartRadio. I swear, influencer podcasts have become the new celebrity perfumes. And I'm sure that soundbite will come back to haunt me when I inevitably start my own podcast. It's a matter of when, not if. With all due respect, though, I don't think most people were aware of JoJo Siwa's podcast until a few months later when this clip circulated on TikTok.
One of the biggest things for me right now that I'm looking for in a relationship is somebody who is ready for kids. I am not ready, but I'm very near ready. And I think that within the next 3, 4, I wish I could say 2, 3, but I still feel like I will be a little young in 2 years, but I say 3, 4 because I feel like that's like pregnant in 3, babies in 4, you know what I mean? And that is something that I care very, very much about.
Are you sure about that, JoJo? Are you really sure? Have we thought about it for more than 10 seconds? The same person who defended her friend facing grooming allegations wants children of her own. Yeah, I'm sure that'll end well. Though again, I should reiterate that JoJo is a victim. What happened to her is not her fault, but it is her responsibility to heal from it before she repeats the cycle, although I'm afraid she's already started. On February 13th, 2024, Rolling Stone released a bombshell article titled, JoJo Siwa Promised Them Pop Stardom. They say they were thrown in the trash. With momager Jessalyn Siwa, the star put together a new girl group, XOMG Pop. But after 4 members left, fans had questions about what really happened. The article follows Leah Sanderson, a former member who, according to her and her mom Angie, were treated poorly by the Siwas behind the scenes. Not only is Leah a talented dancer, she's also a resilient person. She was born with spina bifida, which is when the spine and the spinal cord don't form properly, and this can lead to complications. In Leah's case, she's undergone numerous surgeries in her 17 years on this planet, and she still struggles with chronic pain and bladder infections to this day. Yet, that hasn't stopped her from pursuing her dreams. She was one of 7 finalists in the first and only season of Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution. The 7 new members of XOMG Pop were told they'd be the next big girl group. Leah was so excited to work with the Siwas because she loved dance moms and, in particular, idolized JoJo. Despite some hesitations, Leah and Angie made the big move from Texas to LA to pursue this huge opportunity. According to the Sandersons and other anonymous crew members, the group endured long and exhausting dance rehearsals, occasionally to the point where they had to skip school, which, if true, is illegal. The girls ranged from 9 to 16 at the time, and according to the California Department of Industrial Relations, legally, child entertainers at their age can only work 5 hours a day max when school is in session. School is required for 3 hours a day on set, and they're also entitled to a 1-hour break. Leah and Angie told Rolling Stone that the Siwas were very domineering. JoJo, in particular, was a very hostile coach. She was known to scream at the girls, play favorites, and pit certain members against each other. Sounds like someone else we know. The group also felt that they were pressured to cry on camera because it made better TV. But then, allegedly, the girls would come home to gift baskets from the Siwas, as if Reese's peanut butter cups would make up for the abuse they faced that day. Furthermore, the Sandersons alleged that Jess was also extremely cutthroat. For instance, Leah claimed that one time she started bleeding through her belly button mid-rehearsal, and instead of sending her home, Jess told her to put a maxi pad on so the blood wouldn't leak through her costume. Priorities, though. This happened days before Leah was supposed to go in for spinal cord surgery. Then, just weeks later, Jess pressured Leah to come back early to film a music video. Keep in mind, this girl was recovering from spinal cord surgery. Depending on the procedure, it can take 6 months to a year for your spine to completely heal. Angie and the other mothers tried to speak out against the toxic work environment, but once word got back to Jess, she and Leah were fired. Leah and I were in a dark, dark place for months and months that I don't think we were healthy enough to speak out about, Angie says. Now that we've had time to recover and heal from it, we're in a place where we are ready to share and tell people about everything. Since their termination, a lot of these claims have been substantiated corroborated by contracts, emails, texts, and sources close to the production of Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution. Like I mentioned earlier, Leah was one of 4 members who cut times with XOMG Pop without explanation. Supposedly, Angie was the only one who didn't sign an NDA, hence why she's the only parent who's spoken out so far. However, the mothers of the remaining girls released a joint statement saying, "Jess has taken care of the girls as her own. JoJo has played an older sister role and supportive mentor to the girls. We value the time, energy, attention, and financial commitment the Siwas have given us." Another wrote, "Since we have joined, we only have had an amazing and positive experience. I find it very hard to believe the Siwas could have done anything wrong." Another XOMG Pop mother wrote, "My daughter has been a part of the group since day one, and I can attest to it being a healthy, positive environment." And another said she was saddened by the allegations, writing, "I hope for our kids' sake that their dreams and hard work won't be hurt by this story of disgruntled parents." Yeah, and I hope your kids' dreams and hard work won't be hurt by the Siwa's abusive behavior. Allegedly. Those NDAs are working overtime right now. Of course, the Siwas denied the allegations. Jess released a statement through her lawyer, Brian Friedman. "These allegations are 100% provably false, and the story is created to generate clicks at the expense of the truth. Had actual investigative reporting been done, the voluminous and irrefutable evidence would tell you all you need to know, that a disgruntled momager's own abusive behavior caused for her daughter to be asked not to return to the group. Her relentless texts begging for forgiveness and for her daughter to be reinstated completely discredit her and these ridiculous allegations. Jess Siwa was protecting the staff, the other girls, and their families, which she will continue to do vociferously and unapologetically." Yeah, I already know you're guilty because you're using a stupid-ass SAT word like vociferously. Since then, there haven't been further updates. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a nasty legal battle, so I guess we'll have to wait and see if anything more comes to light. Even though viewers were demanding JoJo to address the allegations, she thought this was the perfect time to debut her new era. Her Bad Girl rebrand commenced with a tattoo reveal back in February. JoJo went from having 0 tattoos to an entire patchwork sleeve. JoJo ordered from Inkbox once and suddenly she's a whole new person. This very real and very legit tattoo sleeve also included the names of her future children.
You guys make the most beautiful children, and I love JoJo, I heard you on your podcast. You've already named your children?
Fully.
Really?
I actually have 2 tattoos dedicated to them. This one's dedicated to my baby girl one day. Her name is Freddie. Then this is dedicated to twin boys, Eddie and Teddy.
Freddie, Eddie, and Teddy.
Freddie, Eddie, and Teddy. I wanted 3 babies. I have my sperm donor lined up.
Wait, where's the sperm donor?
You already got it lined up.
Joelle Joannie Siwa, have we seriously learned nothing? Talk about the allegations from the XOMG Pop Kids first before you even consider having your own.
I got a question. If you could have one heaven phone call, this is a random heaven phone call, okay? Nothing too serious. If it was serious, I'd call grandma, grandpa, uncle I never got to meet, someone like that. Unserious heaven phone call. Who are you calling? Personally, I'm calling the people in the Titanic submarine. The situation, the submersible, that whole thing. I'm calling them. My friend said she would call John Benet Ramsey. I feel like that's a pretty good one. Who are you calling? What are we asking? Give me your take on this.
Okay, yassified Paulie D. See, this is what I thought I looked like in 4th grade when I scribbled on my arm in religion class. She actually wound up getting 2 real tattoos, one on each hand, which is crazy to me because I thought that was a big no-no in the tattoo world. Like, a lot of artists won't give you hand tattoos if you're not, like, already tatted. But it was clear that something was brewing in Studio Siwa. On March 10th, 2024, JoJo posted a cryptic message on TikTok saying that this was her last day as a child star. Babe, weren't you talking about being a bottom on Rachel Ballinger's podcast like 2 years ago? Your child star days have been over. That's why you and your mom were so desperate to get XOMG Pop off the ground. Regardless, the internet waited with bated breath to see what JoJo had in store. Then came the first teaser. Yes! Yes! I love sexual themes and violence! Do you think she'll say the F word Oh, I hope my mom will still let me watch. On March 12th, JoJo guest starred on the Jennifer Hudson show and confirmed that she'd been secretly working on new music.
JoJo, you coming out with some new music.
What?
Yes. What? Girl, tell us about it.
Actually, yesterday I gave the heads up, like, hey, it's not for kids anymore.
Oh.
A week later, JoJo revealed that the first single in her new era was called Karma. However, based on the visuals and some fairly recent Snapchat videos of her singing, users were skeptical about the quality of JoJo's newest song.
You're still a traitor. Yeah, you're still a traitor.
All right. Okay. Whatever notes you want, Queen. The following teasers only reaffirmed people's hesitations about JoJo's new bad girl era. What in the Gene Simmons is going on here? This is what happens after one too many JoJo juices. But Karma's media circus had only begun. JoJo spent a pretty penny on this jumpsuit, and god damn it, she was gonna get her money's worth.
I wanted to make art that made people go, what?
Oh, you are, JoJo. You certainly are.
Similar to Miley Cyrus' Bangers, Britney Spears' Slave for You. That for me was very important that I brought back crazy.
Is it comfortable?
Bangers? More like bonkers, am I right? You see, this guy gets it. Whew. Technically, this could be considered JoJo's Bangers era. Going from a former child star to a young adult comes with growing pains, like having a good girl gone bad phase. They're so desperate to break out of that cookie cutter mold, so they go from one extreme to the other. And as they find themselves over the years, eventually most fall somewhere in the middle.
I cannot get the song out of my head.
It's very catchy. The problem is, every part is catchy. It's like all of a sudden your head will be like, I was a bad girl. Karma was a bitch. It's like all of a sudden your brain, there's multiple parts.
I gotta hand it to JoJo. She's her own biggest hype woman, and I love that for her. But it would be a crime if I did not show you the best soundbite to ever leave JoJo's mouth. Another reporter asked who her dream podcast guest is, and just take a look.
Dream guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, let's spice things up. One of my exes.
Oh? Dream guest on my podcast? Unfortunately for everyone around me, that is going to be my vocal stim for the next 7 to 10 days. So thanks, JoJo. I don't have to say it though, right? JoJo's trying way too hard. What convinced me was this viral pap shot of JoJo walking out of an adult toy shop with a stuffed phallus, and I hate that it's kind of adorable. Her give-a-fucks are definitely not on vacation. If anything, I'd barely call this a rebrand because it's exactly what she's been doing since she was a kid. Sparkles, big hair, elaborate costumes, but maybe now she'll say the F word. Fingers crossed. This is literally JoJo's version of the horseshoe theory, and if anything, her rebrand shows how much growing up she still needs to do. So is she trying to overcompensate for being called a giant toddler for years? Is this like her version of a belated teenage rebellion phase? Personally, I think she needs to rebel against her makeup artist, but whatever JoJo was doing worked, and it worked almost too well. People have been recreating the makeup, you know the dance I'm talking about. And this is exactly what she wanted. Some creators even took on the liberty of trying to predict JoJo's new sound.
I'm driving in my seatbelt, doesn't go over my chest. I know it's for the best, but I'm an adult now. And I do what I want.
I'm a bad girl. I stay up late. I kiss girls on the first date. I'm all grown up. Yeah, so what? I don't give up what you say.
Unfortunately, they weren't too far off. The Ho-Ho Siwa Tana Mojo got in on the fun as well, which JoJo was not too happy about.
I was a bad girl. I'm doing bad things.
You think she's ever taken like a perk 30 and like cussed somebody out?
I doubt JoJo's done a perk 30 or whatever, but I do think she's been high off the smell of her own farts for too long. Most people saw right through JoJo's bad girl shtick. They thought it was convenient for JoJo to rebrand herself now, while major news outlets were covering the serious allegations against her and her mom. Granted, this project didn't happen overnight. JoJo said that she's been working on it for years, but the timing is rather curious. Sadly, the XOMG pop controversy seems to have been drowned out by all the memes and jokes. For some reason though, JoJo still had defenders, like this person who said we should stop bullying her because she might have autism. Not because she is autistic, but because there's a chance she's autistic.
I don't like when I see people making fun of JoJo Siwa. I don't like it because there's a good possibility that she's autistic.
Sorry, what? Why has the internet become so comfortable with diagnosing strangers?
Oh my god, Paige, you're not even a doctor. How can you even say that? When it comes to bullying somebody about like being autistic, I think it's, safer to assume that someone's autistic than not and just like stop bullying them, But also, a lot of the things that people bully her for are things that people bully autistic people for.
I think that's true to a certain extent, and JoJo's been unfairly scrutinized in the past. But the reason people don't like her now is because she defends her predatory friends, allegedly, and exploits children, supposedly, and viewers are calling her out for the ridiculous way she's dodging accountability. She's responsible for her actions whether she's autistic or not. Granted, there's always going to be people who take it too far. Apparently, some users were calling JoJo acoustic and the R slur in her comments, and that's just straight up ableist and disgusting, and you should be ashamed of yourselves.
As a dancer and a dance teacher who is autistic and has ADHD, most dancers are autistic and have ADHD. Not trying to diagnose everybody, obviously, but most of my dancers.
While that might be this creator's experience, it's still a huge blanket statement to make. People do this with fictional characters, like this character from this TV show is autistic coded, which is fine because they're not real people. But JoJo is a real person who has never said she's autistic. It's no better than shipping two co-stars or band members. Honestly, it's probably worse. I found a couple articles saying JoJo has ADHD, but I don't know how reliable they are. Oftentimes, ADHD and autism go hand in hand, but that's not the case for everyone, and I'm not saying that's the case for JoJo. So take that with a grain of salt. No matter what, though, it's inappropriate to speculate on a real person's diagnosis.
Plus, I've been watching this girl since she was little on Dance Moms, and I was like, oh, that's me. And now I see her in interviews, and I'm like, that's me. I think there's a possibility.
That could be true, but even so, that doesn't make it fair game for you to say JoJo's autistic in such a definite manner. She very well could be, but until JoJo confirms it, let's not pathologize her. Again, real human being we're talking about. This has turned into Schrodinger's autism diagnosis. Say JoJo does have autism though, okay? Let's headcanon her as an autistic woman who just hasn't told the public yet. Perhaps there's a reason why, and we're not entitled to that information either way. This was one of the worst takes on the situation I've seen thus far, but please do not send hate to this person, though I'd like this to be a reminder that neurodivergent people can still be bad girls who do bad things. But the weeks of endless promo led to April 5th, 2024. Karma's release day. I mean, she uploaded so many previews that it's like, you might as well drop it, I'd rather not get copyright claimed by the Siwas, so I can't play the music video. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Breaking out the green screen for this one. It's a special occasion after all. Anyway, welcome to WatchJojo.com. I'm your host, Anita U-Haul, and today we'll be counting down our picks for our top 10 moments from Karma by JoJo Siwa. At number 10, we have the opening line. Out the gate, JoJo makes it clear, I was a bad girl, I did some bad things. Thank you for the reminder. Why show when you can just tell? At number 9 is JoJo's trust fall into the ocean. I mean, who doesn't love an Irish goodbye? And imagine my surprise when I found out that JoJo can not only breathe, but also sing underwater. It's giving Little Mermaid. It's giving H2O. Nar, jar, jar, nar! At number 8 is JoJo's Ariel, because I know that made Abby Lee proud, but Maybe point those feet next time. For number 7, we're gonna revisit the lyrics for a second. So the pre-chorus goes, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not cheat, thou shalt not get caught, or you'll end up just like me. But when JoJo sings it the first time, she's like, thou shalt not get caught. I really like that. At number 6, we have what I like to call the titty titty thrust. Titty titty thrust. Titty titty thrust. At number 5 is the title, Karma. Hey JoJo, what's it called when your best friend loses views, subscribers, and any goodwill she had left with the internet because she creeped on children? Yeah, that's what I thought. You might be shocked, but I'm putting the best dance move ever at number 4. Some of you might say she was robbed, and maybe you were right. But I'm standing on business, and I think the best dance move ever is a lovely third alternate. Karma's a bitch. Karma's a bitch. At number 3 is the chorus. It goes, Karma's a bitch, I should have known better. If I had a wish, I would have never effed around. Sorry, effed? You mean f***ed, right? You're such a bad girl. Come back when you can curse like an adult. Next song, I better hear you say f***, ass, pussy, At number 2, we have the lesbian representation. Although Hollywood's been amplifying queer stories more over the years, as a lesbian, I still think we're underrepresented in the media. But then, JoJo came along, and thanks to her, I finally feel seen. I feel like someone's finally given us a voice. Okay, what the f*** is this? This is our representation? I'm done. I don't get paid enough for this. Cut the cameras, now! All jokes aside, I really meant what I said about lesbian representation. Not for nothing, that's why JoJo's the queen of gay pop.
The genre is, I said it back in the day when I first signed with Columbia, I said I wanted to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, it's like K-pop, right? But it's gay pop.
Oh, don't worry. We got it, JoJo. I guess lesbian Jesus means nothing to you. JoJo's honestly the first and only person to do anything.
But I'm kind of the only influencer that also does music. You know what I mean? Like,
you gotta respect the shamelessness a little bit. Like, while the entire internet's been clowning on her, she said, if no one's got me, then I got me. Going back to the former clip, to say that you, a 20-year-old lesbian living in 2024, invented gay pop is beyond deluded when so many queer artists before your time paved the way so that you can also make gay pop. There's David Bowie, Prince, Elton John, JoJo's Faith, Freddie Mercury, and if we're talking queer women in music, there's Tegan and Sarah, Kalani, Tracy Chapman, Sophie, Lady Gaga, Drake, and so many other LGBT artists across the spectrum. Maybe what I said a few seconds ago wasn't a joke. JoJo believes she's actually the first to do everything. Don't get me wrong, I truly love that JoJo's an out and proud lesbian entertainer, and I do think at one point she was positive LGBTQ plus representation for the younger crowd. The fact that she performed for 55,000 people at Miami Pride last month is insane. But at least acknowledge your predecessors who made it possible for you to get there in the first place. You know what? This has inspired me to start a new genre of YouTube. It's called Gay YouTube, or GayTube for short. All right, this is me gay drinking water. This is me gay sitting. This is me gay filming. Everything I do can be called gay anything, and I'd be the first to do it. To be fair, JoJo went back on our comment in an interview with TMZ, saying she'd rather be the CMO or Chief Marketing Officer of gay pop.
definitely am not the inventor of gay pop, for sure not. But I do want to be a piece in making it bigger than it already is.
Okay.
I want to bring more attention to it.
Okay.
I'm not the creator, but I'm not the president, but I might be like the CEO or the CMO.
Okay.
I could be the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer.
I like that.
Despite all the criticism, this didn't stop JoJo from celebrating the release of her new single in some good company. As they say, ain't no party like a predator party, hey! Allegedly. But at least some of the Dance Moms cast was super supportive. That was pretty wholesome. Another small controversy that coincided with the gay pop stuff was JoJo's beef with Lil Tay. TMZ reported that Lil Tay called JoJo a fraud and didn't want fans to compare them, and then JoJo liked a shady tweet about her. There's really no comparison between JoJo and hashtag Lil Tay anyway. Hashtag JoJo Siwa has a career. Lil Tay is just a meme and a pathetic one at that. Damn, Melissa. You think Lil Tay ran over her dog or something. One thing about Lil Tay, though, she's not about the subtweets. She's gonna tag you if she has something to say. At It's JoJo Siwa, you're a scary ass bitch. If you have something to say about me, say it, and this time don't delete your comment or unlike shady tweets. Don't let those paid YouTube views and botted Spotify streams get to your head, Madonna from Dollar Tree ass bitch. Not Madonna. What did Madonna do to you? But enough about petty internet beef. We need to analyze karma a little deeper. One of the song's main themes is cheating and its consequences. Thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not cheat, thou shalt not get caught, or you'll end up just like me. Oh, karma's a bitch, I should have known better. If I had a wish, I would have never effed around. When I saw the pics of you and her, I felt the knife twist. Karma's a bitch, and she's with you right now. Facts no printer. People speculated that this song was about Avery Cyrus, JoJo's most recent ex. On the Call Her Daddy podcast, she told Alex Cooper that her last relationship was very public and very traumatic. Allegedly, Avery was sending anonymous texts to JoJo, and she had to get her security team involved.
Like, what are the feelings that hit you?
At first, I had a weird gut instinct.
Okay.
Had a weird gut instinct, and I was like, I bet it's. And then I sent it to my team, and then he was like, hey, we need a call, because it is somebody that was very, very close to you that did this. And I was like, oh, fuck me, okay. And at first I was like, okay, whatever. But then I was like, wait. I was like, that's actually not okay. And then it didn't hit me again until I tried to date again. And then I realized, like, I can't, I wouldn't want to be around someone alone because of what happened.
Then Alex asked her about how she created Karma, and JoJo said she began writing new music 2 years ago after signing with Columbia Records.
We started off like pretty calm, like nothing like what's out right now. And then I got pitched this song, Karma.
Sorry, what was that?
And then I got pitched this song, Karma.
Now check out this clip from JoJo's Billboard interview.
The song does sound like a 2010 record. It does, and that was the goal. But there was a point in time where it sounded a little too 2010. We reined it in. We found the mix of 2024 and 2010 to make it that same style to fit more into today's world.
Interesting. So what if I told you that Karma was actually from the early 2010s? Supposedly, Karma, originally Karma's a Bitch, was pitched to Miley Cyrus in 2011 for her third studio album, Can't Be Tamed, but she passed on it. So the single was given to up-and-coming singer-songwriter Britt Smith. She recorded the track and music video with Rock Mafia in 2012, but ultimately it was scrapped, and Britt was forced to make a different song called Provocative, her lead single, but it didn't perform well, and she left the music industry. Once this information resurfaced, people accused JoJo of stealing Karma for Britt Smith. So out of spite, they started streaming Britt's version instead. The 2012 music video garnered millions of views in the past month, and the song peaked at number 8 on the US iTunes pop charts. Not to sound like a contrarian or nothing, but I like Britt Smith's version better. Not just her voice, but like I also prefer the emotion she put behind her version. She sounds remorseful, like karma's a bitch, I should have known better, I got what I deserved. Whereas JoJo's version feels like it's coming from a self-righteous place, at least that was my interpretation of it. I can't play either one for copyright reasons, so you'll just have to take my word for it. It's all subjective though, I'm just a silly little guy with silly little opinions, but if you like JoJo's version more, let me know. Meanwhile, JoJo told TMZ that she had no idea who Britt Smith was, which angered people even more. And it's a good thing I call you guys my sinners, because all I'm doing in this video is playing devil's advocate, but JoJo was not in the wrong. This time. Britt Smith didn't write Karma's a Bitch either. Desmond Child did, and this guy has written for some of the biggest artists from the past 40 years, like Cher, Bon Jovi, and Aerosmith. It's pretty common for record labels to buy the rights to a song and pitch it to different artists until one accepts and records their own version. And that's what happened with JoJo and Karma. Columbia pitched the song to her.
So people think that you said that you wrote it.
Yeah.
They can't find the receipt.
Exactly. There's nothing out there of me being like, so when I wrote Karma,
Yeah.
I was thinking this. I would never say that because I literally did not write it. But when I was pitched Karma and I heard it, I was like, wow, this is a song for me.
Some people were like, oh, well, she sure made it seem like she wrote it, but this happens all the time. One of your favorite artists has probably released a song pitched for someone else. For example, Toxic, sung by Britney Spears, written for Kylie Minogue. Since You Be Gone, Kelly Clarkson's biggest hit, was offered to Pink and Hilary Duff first. Now this one surprised me, but in another world, Paris Hilton would have sung Don't Ya by the Pussycat Dolls. Since then, Brit has come out in defense of JoJo. In a TikTok, she reaffirmed that JoJo did not steal her song.
You guys saying that we want to make her dreams come true 12 years later has just been so unbelievably nice, and even kind of inspired me a little bit to think about maybe stepping back into this, possibly. You know, I have a 2-month-old and a 22-month-old, so it was definitely, a surprising thing at this stage of my life, but also kind of a moment that I just thought, well, if the universe is putting this in front of me, maybe I should try again for a minute.
Brit said she's grateful for all the support, and she's happy that JoJo and the fans have breathed new life into Karma 12 years later. She even told Page Six that she liked JoJo's version.
Nice. Do you think JoJo did it justice?
Yeah, I think, it's nice to hear different interpretations of it. I was, attached to my version, but it's nice to hear.
There are a lot of things to criticize JoJo for, but this isn't one of them. Instead of holding her to a double standard, let's get mad at like 90% of singers in the industry right now, because they probably sang a song that was pitched to them. But what a time it was for the Dance Moms reunion to premiere on May 1st. After Karma, the XOMG pop controversy, really this entire year, fans were sick and tired of seeing JoJo everywhere. They were also confused about why she was invited in the first place, because she had the shortest run out of everyone at the reunion. I'll tell you why. Clout. Why do you think JoJo was in every promo video on Lifetime's YouTube channel? Objectively, she is the most successful person from Dance Moms, so it makes sense. Whether you like that or not is a different story. Don't get me wrong, there were some wholesome moments in the reunion, like when Chloe shared her coming out story, and it was just nice seeing some of the OGs in the same room together after like 10 years. But JoJo definitely took over the conversation a lot, and she had the nerve to defend Abby Lee Miller to the faces of the 3 girls who arguably faced the most abuse from her.
This is gonna be a little controversial to say, I think, but to me, Abby was always right.
I mean, Paige's face says it all right there.
I did interrupt 2 adults talking. If I was a mess and a beat off, she wasn't just yelling at me because she wanted to yell at me. I actually was a mess and was a beat off. One thing that I've learned, like really working insane in Hollywood, is that that's normal.
Just because it's normal doesn't make it right. I'm gonna sound like my mom for a sec, but if a friend told JoJo to jump off a bridge, would she jump off the bridge too because everyone else is doing it?
It's scary that that's normal, but that taught me how to survive in the industry. I mean, it truly is so tough.
She's basically saying Abby prepared her for the real world, and I hate when people use this excuse for behavior. Like, yeah, the world can be cruel, but does that justify the way Abby terrorized those children for years? And if we all know the world is toxic, then why feed into it? Why not create a safe space instead to give the kids a break from the real world? You can be a good teacher without screaming in their faces. In fact, I'd argue that screaming in children's faces makes you a bad teacher.
If y'all were to have a child, a daughter in particular, would you allow her to have a teacher like Abby Lee in her life?
I mean, like Clooney said, Abby really wasn't that far off of how actual dance.
It depends on all of us sitting here could handle Abby, could handle the environment of Dance Moms. We did. We all turned out fine. Yeah. Of course, we have our moments here and there.
Did you now? I only saw a few clips and pictures from press week of all the girls, and you can tell there was a bit of tension between JoJo and the rest of them. But if someone told you to your face that your abuser was right, who could blame them? But JoJo stays talking shit about the Zieglers like it's her job.
Them not being here is kind of like, let me erase my past, pretend it never happened, shove it down the drain, when it's like, that's why you are who you are.
Not to be like, well, actually, but that's objectively wrong because Maddie has stated before that she's grateful for her time on Dance Moms.
And while it may come across as if Maddie and Kenzie are trying to erase their past, Maddie's told ET many times she'll never forget her roots.
I'm so grateful for the show because it got me to where I am today, and it's helped me, you know, with so many opportunities, and I'm so grateful for that.
Two things can be true. Maddie and Mackenzie can be thankful that Dance Moms opened so many doors for them, but also not want to relive their time on the show. The Ziegler sisters weren't yelled at as much, but Maddie in particular experienced a whole different form of abuse from Abby, along with the resentment and jealousy from other moms at only 8 years old. Instead, they're choosing to focus on their respective crafts. Maddie's an actress, Mackenzie is a singer, and it's their right to leave the show in the past. That's not a sign of ungratefulness. It's setting boundaries for their mental well-being. We are not entitled to their story, and when I say we, that does include JoJo. If the Ziegler sisters ever decide to do a tell-all or release a book in like 10 years from now, I will be pre-ordering, but I'm not expecting that from them. We should respect their privacy, actually. Based on this video with Joey Graceffa alone, it's evident that Maddie and Mackenzie live rent-free in JoJo's mind. Joey asked who her least favorite member of Dance Moms was, and she said this.
Okay, I have an answer.
Okay.
I do have an answer.
Okay.
I do have an answer because they like TikToks making fun of me.
Stop.
Kenzie. I love Kenzie with all my heart, but I was really hurt by that.
Oh.
I was really hurt by that. Kenzie, I love you. I really, really do. But when I saw the reposts of people being like, oh my God, no way, Kenzie liked this, favorited it, and commented, I was like, oh, that's shady.
Ooh.
I'm not saying this wasn't shady on Kenzie's part. It is. Like I said with the Britt Smith drama, I want to avoid holding JoJo to a double standard. Quite honestly, this should probably be handled offline. Besides the reunion, the month of May has slowed down in terms of controversy for JoJo, but there's always something happening in Studio Siwa. For example, JoJo can't escape the stealing allegations. In the past week, she was accused of stealing former WWE wrestler Luna Vachon's entire persona from 1989.
Wait for it.
What do you want, Johnny C?
Listen, Beastie, I wanted to go over a few things with you before the IRS man gets here.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, I wrote your makeup off as a health expense.
How'd you manage that?
Well, I told him if you didn't wear any, the audience gets sick.
I mean, the resemblance is uncanny. At least Luna Vachon didn't get her eye makeup tattooed on her arm. You gotta love it though, especially when your ex is jamming to the song you wrote about her with her ex. What happened was that Avery and Soph were spotted at a gay bar a few weeks ago, and when Karma came on, they were on stage singing their hearts out. The irony is not lost on me, and the fact that they knew the words too is just hilarious. The largest update though has to be SNL's parody of JoJo performed by Chloe Fineman in a Weekend Update skit on May 5th.
Does it scare you, Colin? Does a former child star looking like this scare you?
Yeah, but not in the way you're hoping.
Yeah, I'm in my bad girl era now.
Little late to hop on the JoJo Siwa bandwagon, don't you think? I wouldn't know anything about that. And the final update I have is from May 19th, JoJo's 21st birthday. Cake and candles to her, by the way. Shout out to our girl. And in the US of A, that means JoJo can drink legally, and she surely did at Disney World, of all places. All decked out in her bedazzled construction vest, JoJo tried to start a Karma sing-along in Epcot.
Wish I would have never acted around. Yeah, we know it. So it'd be your own.
Here, let's try this one. Thou shalt not
Lie.
Thou shalt not
Cheat.
Thou shalt not get caught, or you'll
End up just like me.
She really seems to love this construction vest, though. Get my girl in the denim up there with you next time. But that's f***ing awesome, dude. If I was there, I would have sung along with JoJo because I'm a real C1-ater. A fan who spotted JoJo that same day asked her to say hi to a friend who also happens to be named Kylie.
Oh, that's my ex's name. Oh. Well, happy birthday, Kylie. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a canon event, I fear. JoJo's story is interesting because she had the quote-unquote privilege of growing up as a child star and a child influencer, and now we're seeing the ramifications of that as she tries to navigate young adulthood. I can't help but feel bad for her in a way because she was literally groomed to be in the spotlight. She had no chance at a normal childhood with Jess as her mother.
If I had another daughter, could I do all that work again? And the answer to that is yeah, like totally. Come on. But it was so much work. I put JoJo in dance because I was a dance teacher hoping, praying she would love it. And she did. She didn't love it as much as probably I loved it, but she loved it a lot.
If anything, JoJo believes the contrary.
I have been so lucky, and I credit that to my mom.
Yeah.
My mom has kept every psychopath out of my life.
And how's that working for you? Thing is, and I'm not diagnosing her, let me make that clear, I don't think JoJo realizes that her childhood was not normal. She should not have been around so many adults at such a young age. She should have not had every moment of her life exploited for Jess's gain. She should not have been subjected to Abby Lee's abuse, even if it was only for a couple seasons. I think this clip from the We're Having Gay Sex podcast is very telling.
Well, the first show is Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition, and then I moved on and did Dance Moms when I was 11. So it's been a cute 10 years, but it's been all I know. Like, think about when you were 8, you don't really remember anything.
Yeah, no.
And I don't really remember much till I was like 16, really. And so it's like all I know. But
yeah.
That's a major red flag. It makes you wonder if this is why she keeps in touch with Abby and Colleen and Shane, if this is why she romanticizes her time on Dance Mom so much. Again, not diagnosing, I'm simply going off what she has said. I've seen some people joke that JoJo's gonna have her Britney moment in the next few years, and let's hope that doesn't happen. But for now, it's devastating to see her repeat the cycle. And as critical as I've been, I wish her an amazing, normal life where she's living on her own terms. And that is all I have to say on the matter. 16,000 words later. Maybe the real karma was the friends we made along the way. I've concluded that I know way too much about this woman now. As soon as this video's up, I want nothing to do with JoJo for at least the rest of this calendar year, but don't let that stop you from letting me know what you think about Miss JoJo with the Bobo. If you'd like to see more deep dives like this in the future, and I do mean future because this took a while, please let me know down below. And in general, if you have any particular video ideas for me, I have a Google form linked in the description where you can submit them. But thank you so much for watching this long ass video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a tiny thumbs up and subscribe down below. By liking and commenting, it lets me know whether or not you'd like to see longer videos from me in the future. But also, thank you, Aura, for sponsoring. Thank you for being here. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time with a new, shorter video. Bye!
Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today is the day I hope you will donate to support our...
Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends, guys. Welcome back to r/malicious compliance, where in this episode, it's all about bad bosses getting what they deserve. Again. So if you've ever dealt with bad bosses in your life, this one's for you. The stories are so satisfying. I hope you enjoy them. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. And as always, you can send or link your post to this email right here. Let's dive in. So this happened a few years ago. I was a data and reporting analyst, and I did all the ad HOC reports for the company. My boss, who we'll call Carrie, was a useless person. She was one of those people that was always late, left early, and she took off days at short notice. The only thing of value she did was all the regular reports, like the sales, revenue, etc. We suspected she got away with it because she was having an affair with her boss, who we'll call Stuart. Our CEO was a fairly decent guy. He'd always look for ways to cut costs, and he would pay regular bonuses for the best cost-saving initiatives. With that said, my boss Carrie was very keen to submit ideas and encouraged us to all automate our tasks so she could try to take credit for the savings. Well, on one of her call-in sick days, which coincidentally Stuart was sick as well, the CEO was desperate for the sales report that my boss does. I said I'd give it a look and see if I could get it done. Normally, she'd spend 2 to 3 days doing it each week, but the CEO wanted it that afternoon. A quick inspection of the data showed it would quite easily be automated, so I knocked up the necessary script and I got it to the CEO, who was super impressed that not only had I got it done in a couple of hours, but also that it could be updated whenever he needed it. He then asked if I could also look at the revenue, churn, and a couple of other reports. Over that afternoon, I automated everything my boss Carrie did. Both Carrie and Stuart were back in the next day, but they were immediately summoned to the CEO's office before being suspended and then sent home. It turns out the CEO knew they were having an affair, and all the times that they were sick, late, or had to leave early was so they could sneak off and do the dirty business. He hadn't done anything about it because how important these reports were. Now, they were all automated, and he was able to get them suspended and later fired for gross misconduct for the time they'd taken off. And I also got a nice bonus out of it. That is frickin' karma at its finest right there. And to think, if Opie's boss didn't keep leaving early to sleep with her boss, she'd still have her cushy job. But no, she was replaced by a script that Opie wrote in like 2 hours. Imagine that though, like, I'm so sorry, Carrie, but you always told us to try to automate things to make it easier and faster. I didn't know your job was that simple to automate. And guys, while we're on the topic of bosses being burned by their employees, listen to this